Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sustain the Trail podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tyler,
And I'm Becca.
and we are so stoked to have you here today. So, today's topic is it seems kind of like a pipe dream in Ohio right now, just because we just had snow again. Uh, but we're going to talk about preparing for summer gear and adventures.
Yes, definitely something that you guys especially need to do. We don't have to do it as much here in California, but where I live, it gets pretty cold. Like we've been having like 30-degree mornings around here. So, maintaining the gear that we buy is really important because, some of the stuff we buy is pretty expensive. And if we take good care of it, then it lasts, right? And if we don't, then it doesn't, and we have to spend more money and replace those things. I don't know
Absolutely,
about
yeah. I
you,
mean,
but I am not a trust fund kid, so
I'm
I need to
definitely
make
not a
sure my
trust
stuff
fund kid.
lasts.
Most of my gear is bought secondhand. And I've
Yeah,
I've been lucky enough
actually,
sometimes to get it used at REI with the tags still. So like
mm,
some of it's brand new, but it was bought in like the used section. But
yeah,
typically I'm scouring Marketplace or I'm shopping with our lovely sponsor, Take a Hike Resale Shop, and I usually get my gear secondhand.
yeah. I love that name of their store. By the way, that's such a great name. But I also do the same. I try to go like I'm a huge thrift store shopper. I used to work at a thrift store, so I've always loved thrift stores. Outside of the sustainability aspect, like you can find some really cool things. It's like a fun little adventure on its own doing thrift store shopping. But I
Oh,
also we
absolutely.
have our own um, like used gear stores around here that I go into. And then, of course, I actually just bought new trekking poles from Backcountry. And they have their 60% sale right now. And I'm stoked because, like, I used to have Kelty poles. And while they were okay, I probably bought them at like Walmart, like, they were maybe 30 or $40. Um, they've worked really well for me, but they're starting to, whether I stripped them or not, like one part doesn't like stay collapsed or uncollapsed. Um, and so I decided to just bite the bullet because I love trekking poles. Like sometimes I have balance issues because of my head injury. There's other reasons why and I'm always climbing mountains. So if I've got a lot of elevation gain, those trekking poles help pull me up the mountain a little bit.
Absolutely. I love trekking poles. I used to never use them. Um I can't remember the brand that I have now. It's some German brand that I got when I worked at an outdoor store a couple years ago. Um But
Nice.
I broke my hip over a little over 2 years ago. And since then I now use poles religiously. Uh and I'm a big
Yeah.
advocate for having a good pair of trekking poles. I mean, Kelty makes great stuff, but they are on the more budget side of things, which is totally fine. I think having
Lower
a
budget.
good
So yeah,
entry level,
absolutely.
it's really important. Obviously, no one wants to spend $150 on their first pair of sticks. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big advocate for using sticks and making sure you're safe on the mountain. And I could say the same for chains on your feet, especially out here in Ohio, where in the wintertime, it's almost a requirement to have spikes or chains on your boots or shoes, so you don't fall when you're hiking.
Slip and fall. Yeah. I actually can't even
Yeah.
imagine what it's like to hike in snow. I've thought it'd be fun to snowshoe, but yeah, like chains on your shoes. That's something us Californians don't understand.
I mean, I'm sure at some points of elevation, like Tahoe and stuff like that, uh, could be
Oh
necessary,
yeah,
but
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I do want to learn how to use like micro spikes because some of the elevation hikes you do, even in the summer, at the top you're going to find snow. So
exactly, yeah. And I mean, I'm a bigger fan of spikes than chains, but chains tend to be a little easier to use and more widely available here, which is quite
okay,
ironic. But Yeah, I think I now that we're talking about this, I'm like, well, damn, there's still snow on the ground here, and we're talking about summer. I'm actually excited later in the year to do a winter gear preparation episode because that's kind of where my mind's at. But yeah,
Yeah, for
so
sure.
let me pose this question to you. We'll, we'll start it off with what is your go-to gear just to get outside when it comes to the summer weather?
Yeah, I was kind of, as we were prepping for this episode, I was thinking a little bit about all of that, and I feel like, right, gear and the gear that you need is really going to be dependent on what you're doing. So obviously, I hike a lot. I hike, you know, at least once a week. Um, and so I have some kind of standard stuff that I use for those hikes. And then there are times when I do, like, instead of just a basic, 3 to 8 mile hike, I go 15 miles. Well, then I'm going to need more gear, different gear for that. And we all know that I'm prepping to do my first backpacking trip, and that's a whole different set of gear. I might still use like some of the gear that I use to go hike, like my poles and my hiking boots and whatever. I'm going to need different equipment for actual backpacking. So, for my basic hikes that I do all the time, I have either, and this is fun, I'm going to tell you like a real fun story here in a little bit. I have, so when we talk about hydration, I love bladders. I don't love water. I mean, I love water bottles, but these are for, like, when I'm working. Um, but especially because I have trekking poles, a bladder helps me stay hydrated, and I don't have to stress about how I'm going to access that hydration. So I have a small, of course, my brain is going to blank at the name. What's the kind of the basic hydration? It's pretty popular.
Uh, it's right there on the tip of my
Camelback.
tongue. Camelback. Yep. Yep.
Camelback.
There it
So I
is.
have
There
a
it is.
small
Sorry,
camelback.
Camelback.
Yeah, that comes with the bladder, and it's got its own little backpack, and I can fit some things, right? I can fit a little snack, I can fit some doggy poop bags and those kinds of little things that I tend to bring with me on hikes. But I can't bring much else, right? Because it's really compacted. Um, and I often will struggle, right? Because I struggle with all the things that I want to bring. What I want to bring, that, like, if I want to bring my drone isn't going to fit in that tiny little camelback, right? So the other thing that I bring on some of those hikes, and of course I'm training for my backpacking trip. So I do use my Osprey, which I have right here, and it fits my bladder, and obviously it fits all kinds of things. It's big, I use it for travel as well. And then I have just a regular, like, JanSport type backpack, but it doesn't have a place for my bladder. So while I could stick the
Couldn't
hose out the
couldn't
side of the
you
zipper and,
couldn't
go
you
ahead.
put your Camelback bladder in the Osprey bag? Because at least for my Osprey bag, it
Yes,
has
I
like a
can.
little thing to latch. Okay, so you could take more if you
On the
wanted to
back.
switch
Yep.
your bladder over.
Yeah, no, that's what I do. I've been using my Osprey. If I want to take a bunch of stuff, I just use my Osprey, and I need to train with it anyways. But it is a massive backpack, right? So, like, if you're just trying to do a 4 or 5 miler, it does feel kind of funny to have that big thing. But yeah, so, like, I hike with a good pair of boots. I don't wear shoes because I had rolled in my ankle. I rolled my ankle a couple of years ago. So boots work best for me. I know some people prefer regular tennis shoes or runners, track shoes. Um, but I use boots. Trekking poles are definitely a must. Obviously, some sort of hydration. Uh, I use a bladder. Um, and then, right, like, clothing, obviously, you need to be dressed. And that is going to depend on where I'm going and the weather. So, like, we have ticks out here. You guys probably have that problem as well. So, if it's tick season, I've got long pants, probably a long shirt, or at least a shirt that I could put on to cover up. And I keep my hair in braids because my hair is very long and it tends to pick up ticks if I'm not careful. Let's see
Do
what
you carry a
else.
tick key?
No, I don't. I
That would
usually
be
try to
my
make sure I
biggest
don't get bit by ticks.
recommendation.
So, what was that?
That's fair. That's fair. I said that would be my biggest recommendation. Is carrying a tick key.
Tick
I
key.
have a handful of them.
Well,
Yeah, and that way, if you do find one on you when
I
you're
carry a
hiking, you
doctor
can
with me,
just use
so
it to pull it off. Touche. Touche.
yeah.
That is actually true.
Yeah.
Here, so
So
you
yeah,
are one of the
I
few
guess
people. You're one of the few people that I've heard that prefers to use a bladder situation, like a camelback, over a Nalgene bottle or two. How have you
yeah.
fared with cleaning the camelback and keeping it clean? Because I think that's the biggest issue I've had with camelbacks or hydration systems of the such. Um, Keeping it clean can be a pain. And so how do
Yeah.
you make that work for you in a way that isn't super like daunting or a massive task?
I usually there's probably some areas of improvement in that process. I do fill it up all the way usually because I just want to make sure that I have as much water as possible, because that's that be prepared part of leave no trace, right? So I usually fill it up to the liters plus. And then usually when I get home, or sometimes even as soon as I'm off the trail, I will open it up and empty it out, like water some plants, whatever I haven't used gets dumped out in some way. And then I get a paper towel and I go in like and dry it out a little bit, and then just let it air dry and hope that it air dries well. Um, I have never washed it, so I do tend to like drain it immediately and dry it out so that it doesn't get gross.
That makes sense. I feel like that's just a bit I would
Yeah.
forget personally. My ADHD runs very
Yeah, no, I
strong
get it.
and
And honestly, it's
I would
kind of
forget.
funny that you say that because I know that people don't like bladders because of that reason, but I've actually just at Christmas time my water bottle had it had mold in it and I didn't even realize because it was just always filled with water and I'd leave it in my car. And then I would like drink it and then, and I just like, oh, well, my water bottle's here. I'll just dump it out, refill it, take it with me on my trip. And then when we got to our destination, I opened it up to go drink it and I kind of noticed, I was like, that doesn't look so great. So normally my water bottles don't have mold in them, but you know, that was an eye-opening
Sometimes it
moment
can
for me.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I might have a bit of a different loadout in terms of gear when it comes to any type of adventure. Even just leaving my house, my everyday carry is probably a bit different than most people. Mainly because I'm a type 1 diabetic. And so I always have to have like I wear a CGM so I can see my glucose levels on my phone and stuff, but I always carry like a backup meter, always have
Mm-hmm.
juices and granola bars and things like that with me.
Right.
And then, anything else that I potentially need, obviously insulin. Um so that obviously is a non-negotiable that's always with me no matter if I'm hiking, biking, leaving the house to go to the grocery store, all of that's always with me. When it
Yeah.
comes to adventure, more specifically hiking or riding my bike, I my carry changes between those two activities specifically. If I'm hiking, I usually carry my Osprey 20 liter. Um, and within that, I'll usually have usually one Nalgene. Depending on how hot it gets, I'll have a second Nalgene. Usually the way I do that is one is filled with regular water and the other is filled with LMNT, like the hydration drink packet.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yep.
because electrolytes for me on my medication is really important. So I usually have one
Okay.
Nalgene filled with just regular, clean, plain water, and then the other filled with like a LMNT or a liquid IV or something of that type. I'm much more of a
Yeah.
LMNT person. Uh, I always
That's
have
funny.
a
We were
sun
talking
layer.
about that on my hike.
Talking
I've
about
never had it.
LMNT.
I've always had liquid IV. I'll have to check them out. Yeah.
Oh, girl, I'll send you some. I got you.
Oh, nice.
I have it on deck. So, uh, also
Right
LMNT, if
on.
you want to sponsor the pod, please reach out. Because
Yeah, no, I was
I
just
spend
hiking with
about
some
$80 a
girls
month
that
on
I
you.
do you really? Wow, you really like
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I do. Well, I drink them all like usually one or two a day because I take
Is
blood
it
pressure
powdered like
meds.
liquid
That
IV? You just put it in your water?
yep, yep,
Okay.
yep, and it's delicious. Most of their flavors are
Alrighty.
salt based, so it's like my favorites are watermelon salt or orange salt. Citrus
I
salt's
love
really
salt.
good. They
Salt
have
is
yeah. So I
I'm a salt addict,
you
so
would
that's right up
like
my alley.
LMNT. Yeah, it's good. I even got my mom on it, surprisingly. So
Nice.
now she drinks it daily. So LMNT sponsor us,
Right
please.
on. Yes, please.
um, but yeah, you
We need
said
to
you were
be
talking to
hydrated for
somebody
all the
about
adventures we go on.
exactly. You said you were talking to somebody about hydration packets.
Yeah, so I went on a hike on Saturday, and so this is I could just tell you not at all fun story, which lends me to ask for, I guess, recommendations. But I met this lady on a meetup hike a few months ago, a couple out of 4 or 5 months ago, and she leads another group. She's the one I'm going to do the backpacking trip with. And so she sent me a text and was like, "What do you think about hiking, Cerro Alto, which is a local peak? It is one of the harder hikes around here. It's a pretty strenuous hike. And the last time I did it was just a few months ago with my partner, and we did it kind of in the middle of the day, so it was really warm. And I just whined and complained the whole time. Oh my lord, I was miserable to be with, I'm sure. So I did much better this time. So yay me, my training is paying off. But we were talking about hydration on that hike. And part of the reason is I got sick on that hike. I ended up, so I'm sick currently. I'm kind of getting better, but I got a stomach bug and it was the most unpleasant experience ever. Now, I usually have, the stuff if I need it. But I don't carry a shovel with me on a 5 mile hike up a mountain because, like, I've never needed to use one. And so I'll spare all the details, but I will say that I need a shovel now. I need to carry a shovel with me because be prepared is the first leave no trace principle. I was definitely not prepared for every possible scenario on that hike on Saturday. And so I made really good time because I had to pretty much run down the hill so that I could get to the bathroom.
I
And we
we're
talked a
probably
lot
gonna veer
about
off topic a little bit.
about hydration. What's that?
Well, yeah, hydration's key, but we're veering off topic a little bit, which is perfectly fine because I actually have a story for you.
All right.
And so last episode we talked about leave no trace principles, and the story that I
Mm-hmm.
told was the first time I went to the Kinzua Dam in the Allegheny National Forest, and how my car got stuck
Yes.
and I wasn't prepared. Right,
Mm-hmm.
3 days after recording our last episode, my now girlfriend uh and I just decided, she's like, "Hey, let's go on a road trip." And I was like, "All right, well, let's go here." And where did we go? We went to the Kinzua Dam. I was not
Oh,
prepared
cool.
this time either. I didn't look at the weather. Uh and so to put it in perspective, it was 60 degrees in Ohio that day. in the next following days. It was 60
Mhm.
degrees. It was perfect weather, right? I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. Well, good. I'll wear my Birkenstocks, like no socks. Everything's kosher. Wear shorts. Everything's kosher. I'll bring a hoodie, like a t-shirt or two, like my sleep shorts, whatever. No jacket, no winter jacket. No extra socks outside of the one pair that I was wearing that got soaked in the first 5 minutes. I made the same mistake that I talked about in the last episode again, where we were so underprepared, and honestly, we got there at 7:30 p.m. We chilled in the car because there was still 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground there, and the temperature
Wow.
was about
Is that
22
in
degrees
Pennsylvania?
Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania. Um,
Okay.
and so we got there at about 7:30 p.m. and then we're chilling in the car. You know, I had music downloaded on my phone, so we just listened to that and talking, hanging out. She fell asleep a little earlier than I did. I ended up falling asleep around 11 or 11:30. We both woke up at the same time at 1:15 in the morning, and we're like, "This is so cold. We can't do this."
We're miserable.
And yeah, in the day prior, I had injured my knee again, and so
Oh
I
no.
couldn't get comfortable on when we were sleeping on a twin size air mattress in the back of her car, which was
Yeah.
not big enough for the both of us. Uh, and so we left at 2 a.m. and drove back to her house back in Ohio, like
Right.
30 minutes away from where I live. And so yeah, I just thought that would be fun to bring back up is because last episode we talked about a fail story and that was mine, and I just found it quite ironic that I did the same thing twice. So
I mean,
yeah,
I, I think that
you
just
can
speaks
know.
right to, yeah, exactly. It speaks to the fact that you can know all of the things and be really educated and still we make mistakes. We're human, right? To err is human.
Sustain the Trail is proudly brought to you by our presenting sponsors, Take a Hike Resale Shop at Open Trail Collective. Whether you're looking for your next piece of gear or wanting to get outside with some lovely folks, our friends have you covered. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Yeah, awesome. And what do you think about technology, Ty? Do you like use all trails, like straw? I know I use all trails, but I wonder, what other people are using out there.
Yeah, so I use two different things. I use All Trails for my hikes, and I use Strava for my bike rides. Uh, Typically, All Trails isn't that great for bike riding, but it is fantastic for hiking. Um, and so I have to kind of split my usage. I wish All Trails had better support for bikes, just because I'd rather use one app instead of two. But yeah, I
Instead
use
of two?
Strava and I use All Trails.
Yeah, so I use all trails. I downloaded Strava once. Now I don't ride bikes. I'm afraid I would die, so I don't do that. But Strava felt like there was a big learning curve. Like all trails feels very pretty, right out the gate. You can use it and it's useful. Um, but I have seen, so lately All Trails has kind of been glitching on me when I record my hikes and when I'm finished. It's like you finished, and I say yeah, and then when I go to look at the stats, it tells me that I've been mountain biking, or then it'll tell me that I've been driving. Like it, so you can actually like do different, but I just have no, obviously I don't mountain bike, so I don't know if I was actually mountain biking, if it would record that correctly. So I'm assuming that it doesn't.
I might have to check that out then, or like revisit All Trails' other options in terms of activity because I don't use Strava as an interface. My Apple workouts just automatically upload to Strava. And so
Oh, okay.
that I don't typically interface with Strava all that much. I couldn't tell you how to use the app properly just because I don't ever use it. in that kind of fashion.
Okay.
Um,
It just
but
connects on your
if
watch and records your
yeah, yeah, it connects to my Apple Health, and so anytime there's a workout added to my Apple Health, it uploads it to Strava. But if All Trails has a good bike, because I don't do mountain biking, I just do like mixed trail biking. So basically, like concrete,
Okay.
stone, dirt, and it's just like a path essentially. We have the towpath that runs
Yeah.
from Erie,
Mhm.
Pennsylvania, all the way to Southern Ohio. Uh,
Wow.
so yeah, I'll have to check that out and see if All Trails is any better than it used to be a couple years ago. Because I would rather not use Strava and just use All Trails. I already pay for All Trails
Yeah.
Premium, so why wouldn't I wanna use the whole
Yeah.
app?
Yeah, I think you can use it. Check it out. Try it. Let me know how it works.
Definitely. What kinda tech are you taking with you on your adventures on a regular basis? Just outside of All Trails, what are you carrying with you? What phone? Do you have a smartwatch? Like, what's that look like for you?
Yeah, I have. So I record my hikes with my very old Apple Watch. So I don't have a special ultra one. But it does the job in that sense. And then I use my iPhone. I have an iPhone 16 Pro, and I use that um to record with All Trails. It does have like satellite phone, whatever. So, I've thought about Garmin. Now, my backpacking trip is on Channel Islands National Park. I definitely won't need it out there. But, if I'm going to summit Mount Whitney in the future, I definitely probably want to get a Garmin if that is something. I guess I've felt like with the new iPhones and other phones having that capability, maybe that wasn't as important, but I do think that probably better to be right in those kinds of situations. If you're like, oh, my phone has satellite and then like it doesn't connect or takes an hour to connect, whereas like the
Or your
Garmin
phone's
InReach
dead.
would be instant, right? Yeah, that's hugely important. Absolutely. So I think about that. But as far as like just the hikes that I do, I use All Trails all the time, and I bring a charging block too because my phone usually runs out of battery in the types of. Yeah, and I'm taking lots of pictures and videos too, right? So between the pictures and
Exactly,
videos and recording
exactly.
with All Trails, after a 5 to 7 mile hike, it's like you've got 6% battery. Like that won't do.
No, no, and I mean, I'm a big fan of redundancy when it comes to not only adventures, but just being prepared. And while we
Yeah,
have these devices like your iPhone, my Apple Watch, they all have the satellite messaging feature. Their batteries are not
yeah,
nearly as good as having an inReach that'll last months on battery.
right.
Uh,
Yeah,
the caveat to an inReach device type situation is there's a subscription that needs to be paid,
monthly fee.
but
Yeah,
yeah, but it for safety,
I've
it's worth
I've
it. Your
heard that. Yeah,
life is depending on that.
yeah, totally. And I have heard that people will just like they'll have them, and then you cancel your monthly unless you're going to go out and use it, right? Then you just like, oh,
Yeah,
renew my subscription because I'm going to go off into the wilderness for a month, so I probably should pay for that.
absolutely. I will say though, my caveat with the inReach is that it's so dang expensive. Just as a
Yeah,
device
exactly.
that
That's
you'll
kind of why I
use
was like,
every once in a while.
exactly. But that
But
expense could save your life.
it could. And honestly, the
Mhm.
$400 that it costs for an inReach, your life is probably worth more than $400. So
Right.
the caveat
I
really
think
isn't a
my children
caveat
would
if
agree
you
with
really
that.
think about it. Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. My cats would agree with that.
Yes, for sure.
um, but yeah, it seems like we have a pretty simple technology stack when it comes to what we take on our adventures. And I think that's kind of what is most important for us. When we go outside in nature, when we are on an adventure, we're hiking, we're climbing mountains, we're doing whatever, we don't necessarily want to be connected.
Exactly.
Like that's part of our escape from the real world, the noise, the social media,
The noise
the
of it
the
all.
MAGA the MAGA side of things. That is our escape. And so having tools that you can use is important, but I will stand on the side of being an advocate of, if you are out and about and you're hiking, you're on an adventure, take your phone, take your Apple Watch, but put it in a focus mode or like a do not disturb mode where you're not receiving messages if you have cell phone signal. And you can use it to take photos and whatnot. But also then just carry a battery, like a little pocket battery thing that you can charge your phone with.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Keep it simple.
Now, do you have a favorite like piece of gear that you use every time without fail, that you've used for a couple months, couple years, whatever it might be? Do you have a single piece of gear that like you would hate if you ever had to replace it?
I have this is not even a piece of gear. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I have a little dinosaur thing that is attached to my pack and it goes everywhere with me. And if you've seen any pictures, you've probably seen him because he is attached to all my,
Yeah.
and he has no value whatsoever except for he's my buddy, and it helps me make friends also on the trail because people are like, "Oh, I like your dinosaur. Does he have a name?" So that's the only thing that I like bring consistently with me. Like, in fact, I was just sharing with my partner the other day. I'm like, I went somewhere, I think with him, and I didn't have him with me because, I switch packs every so often. And he just got left behind on the wrong pack, and it just felt so very wrong that he wasn't with me on that hike. So definitely
To level
not.
with you,
I'm sure you probably have something that would actually be of value to our podcast listeners.
I do, but I also want to level with you. I have a little Beanie Baby, like clip-on stuffed animal. It's like this big, and I've taken him on all of my travels, whether it be to Canada, whether it be to Europe, Germany, Italy, wherever I've ever
Germany, yeah.
been. Thumper, Thumper has been with me everywhere I've gone, and
Yay,
if he's
Thumper.
not on my backpack, he's in my car. Like I have him clipped in my car, and
Okay.
if I'm going somewhere without my car, I take him, I put him on my backpack. So I also have a
Nice.
little like Beanie Baby stuffed animal. It's a little raccoon looking
Little
thing.
buddy.
Yeah, I
Love
call
it.
him Thumper.
I knew I
And
liked you for a
so I have
reason.
the same thing.
Right on.
But yeah, my non-negotiable piece of gear, and I mentioned it earlier in the episode, is, and I have two of them. It's the REI Sahara Sun
You're
hoodie.
okay.
That for me is my non-negotiable. And like I said, I wear it year round.
Okay.
Um, it's so comfortable. It's got the thumb holes, which makes me very happy. It's very thin, so even in hot weather, it's not uncomfortable to wear. It doesn't stick
Yeah.
to you. It's honestly damn near perfect for me.
Nice. I'll
Yeah.
have to check that out. And then obviously your insulin/snacks.
Yeah, that I don't count as a non-negotiable because I can't live without it. So
Okay.
by
Yeah, that makes
choice,
sense.
I can't not take it. If I had a
Yeah.
choice, the sun hoodie would be my non-negotiable.
Yeah.
That or
Yeah, mine
if
is
I'm going
hats.
camping.
Hats and sunglasses,
Mm.
because bright sunlight can trigger gnarly headaches for me. So I always have a hat with the brim and sunglasses on. Those are definitely non-negotiables for me as far as getting outside and doing anything. And then I like 95% of the time I have trekking poles with me, and water, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, hat for me is a big thing. I have too many hats. I have a whole
Same.
armoire like shelf of hats. But I will
Yeah.
say, most of the time in this podcast or my other podcast, the F1 podcast, you'll see me wearing this exact hat. I wear this hat every single day.
Yeah.
It is my favorite hat.
Nice.
Thank you, Cotopaxi. You make great gear, and I love you, and I have more than
Awesome.
just the hat, but this hat never leaves my head. So thank you, Cotopaxi.
Nice. Please sponsor
What about
us.
sunglasses? Yeah, please. Oh, if Cotopaxi ever sponsored us, I would probably melt. Do you wear sunglasses? Are sunglasses a thing for you?
Yeah, I did actually mention that. So hat and sunglasses. I have to have those. Yeah.
Do you
Although
have
now, like,
prescription
I'm blind
sunglasses?
now, and this is a new thing, so I don't have prescription sunglasses. So then I often have to like switch, and I need to like fix that problem because I'm getting old now. So I'll go get
I
prescription sunglasses probably this year.
I also have the problem.
Nice.
But I have
Yes.
had this problem for 20 years and I still don't have prescription sunglasses. I do the whole I
Oh
wear my
wow.
glasses and then I put the sunglasses over my glasses.
Over your glasses.
Yep. And I look like a dweeb, but that's okay. I'll
Yep, that's
happily look like
okay.
a dweeb as long as I can see.
There you go.
Because I lose or break sunglasses all the time. And it's like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
do
going to
too.
spend several $100s on sunglasses to lose or break them. I'll just buy cheap ones and wear them over my glasses. And I look like an idiot, but I can see. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Any, do you want to talk about your trip at all? We don't have to, but we do have some time. So,
My backpacking trip or my Canada trip?
yeah, your Canada trip.
I mean, yeah. So my Canada trip, I won't be doing any hiking really. I'm going. So, I lost my mother last year. She passed away in April. She was my last parent still alive, and so that was really a rough thing to get through. And then my sister and her best friend used to take my mom to Vancouver Island, Victoria, for her birthday every year. That was kind of their little birthday excursion with her. And they remember it fondly, and they knew that my mother really loved it. And so they wanted me to go this year. So we're going to go celebrate my mom's birthday, even though she's not celebrating her birthday anymore. And I'm just going to be hanging out with my sister. We're going to be eating good food, having high tea, just doing Canadian things, and being a tourist. So no big like hiking plans there. My hiking plans are usually with my partner or locally. And then that backpacking trip is in June, Father's Day weekend.
Well, first,
How
I
about
am
you? You have
so
any
sorry
fun
about your
trips or
mother.
anything happening? Oh, thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it.
Of course. But that sounds amazing. And please do send pictures because I
Yeah,
thrive on friends sending fun pictures of adventures. I love
of
Canada.
traveling.
I've
Yeah.
only been to the Ontario part of Canada, but
Okay.
I spent about a week there and I loved it. So, going to Vancouver or like the British side of the British Columbian side of
British Columbia. Yeah.
yeah, that side of Canada would be amazing. Like a dream trip is Banff for me. I love Banff.
Banff. Yeah.
So,
My sister and I were supposed to go paddleboard out there last summer. We were thinking about doing that, and then
oh,
our mother left us. So
well,
we
if
will
that
get there.
trip ever rekindles, let me know because I will happily
Yeah,
if I'm invited, I will happily come along.
absolutely.
Because that would be a dream come true. But for me this weekend, uh, my partner's coming over. We're gonna make a trip to
Yay.
REI. She's gonna get some new shoes and some new boots. She's actually gonna finally have her first pair of hiking shoes and hiking boots. So
Yay.
that's exciting. I After our Hocking Hills
Yeah.
trip a couple weekends ago, she didn't have the right
She's a new
gear.
hiker?
Uh, sh- she hikes, but not in the same way that you and I probably would.
Hmm. Yeah.
So she's new to hiking in the regard of how we hike. which is rain or shine, snow or sleet or nothing. Like
Yeah.
I'm out there, I'm hiking, and so she'll have a good pair of shoes and a good pair of boots. I'm really excited about that. Other than that, I think it's gonna be a chill weekend. I know I'm picking up a new microphone on Sunday, and I'm very excited for it.
Yay.
Uh, but outside of that, it's gonna be a normal weekend around the area, essentially. No Canada for
Right
me.
on. No Canada. I am looking forward to
But
it,
yeah,
even though I've kind of been sick, right? And just got sick on Saturday and it's kind of hanging on, but I'm not contagious. I'm just, running low on energy. So
you
get some
got to
good
get some
sleep tonight
emergency.
and fly out tomorrow night.
Oh, cool. I think that's a perfect place to end the episode. Actually, seems like
Okay.
we've run through most of the things we want to talk about, and
Yep.
yeah, I think if anything, any parting wisdom we can leave is when it comes to preparing for summer adventures, just take the things that you know you need. I think we often make the mistake of saying, "Oh, well, I might not need that. I'm not going to carry that." No, take it with you. Um, check the weather. Don't be like me. And
Yes. Check the
also
weather.
carry a trowel in case you get sick.
Yes. Yes. All things, you learn through experience, don't we? So, but yeah, I think that, like, I guess my, like, parting advice is really, like, there's kind of a fine line between being over prepared and being under prepared, and that's kind of where you want to aim, right? Like, don't
Absolutely.
pack your backpack full of, a week's worth of food, because like there was actually a story about a people that were trying to summit Mount Whitney, and they literally brought like 30 liters of water with them. And it's like, that's like, bring a filter. Like, so, right? So
Yeah.
just like, yes, be prepared. Like, let's make sure we have enough water, but we can actually get water out if we're, backpacking out in nature. So you don't need to bring it all with you. Think a little bit.
A life straw
Aim for
costs
the middle.
$10.
There you
So
go.
just take
Exactly.
take a life straw.
Yeah,
Well, from
being helicoptered
two
out of a scary situation is probably $10,000. So
absolutely. Well, from two non-trust fund babies, this has been a great episode, and we are so grateful to have you along for the ride. I want to take a second to thank our sponsors, Open Trail Collective and Take a Hike Resale Shop. This has been Sustain the Trail podcast. I've been Tyler,
I'm Becca.
and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.